Well, thank you, Esther, for having us back in your beautiful garden. Today is May 5th. We know it's a special day for the Netherlands, Liberation Day. And we got very good questions from the students. And so thank you for giving us a bit of time to answer their questions. They would like to know a little bit more about how you organize your team. So how many people, how many hours a week, what kind of work they do you pay them, or they do it on a voluntary basis?
Yes. Okay. So we have a team of freelancers because I could work here 24/7, but that's not okay for me physically. So I gathered. Could you say like that? Well, I asked people around me to join when they could contribute to the garden, and this went quite naturally. So it was obvious that when I was doing a lot of things in the garden, I needed somebody to take care of the shop because I couldn't split up. And then, well, one of my customers actually asked if I had a job for her. So I said, I can give you a job if you like. She really liked to do the shop, which was great for me. But there is a but, because I say we all earn the same amount of money per hour. So this means I cannot have you as an employee, but you can work alongside me as a freelancer, as an entrepreneur. Yeah. And this means that you will have to become an entrepreneur yourself. And that also means that during wintertime, when there's less work, you need to find something else to do. So that this is not the only place where you're working, otherwise the government is not okay with this. It's important for me because I don't have the ability to take on the responsibility of people getting sick and paying all kinds of taxes. I also feel it's quite honest, because I see a lot of entrepreneurs who almost make no money themselves, but they have people working for them who have more money than themselves. So I was like, I'm not going there because I don't want that. So every time I think we could use some extra help in the garden, we look at the budget and we think like, is there space enough for somebody extra? And if there is, somebody comes. But there's also but there, because up to now we are earning under minimum wage. We are happy with what we're earning, even though we would like to earn more, of course, because the government has put this minimum wage, saying if you are an entrepreneur, you need to have 16 euros per hour. That's 10 euros just as an income, and it's 6 euros for insurance and all these kinds of things, taxes. So at the moment we are earning 10 euros per hour, which means we don't have insurance. So it's not yet the way we want it, but we are getting there, because we have introduced a new system in which we ask our shareholders to pay us per hour, and we calculate it around how much time it takes us to make one veggie bag. Yeah. And then we said okay, so this is the situation now. We are earning less than the government says we should. And this is because we are doing things by hand. We are not only producing food in large quantities, we are producing a very nice garden with biodiversity, a social network, a place where some people can get back to themselves, how do you say? And that means that we are not as efficient as the vegetables you can buy in the supermarket. So our vegetables will be a bit more expensive. Are you willing to pay that? And perhaps even how much would you like us to get per hour? So some people have said like, oh, we want you to earn at least 20 euros an hour. And some say, well, we don't have so much money, so we would like you to earn this, but ourselves, we don't have so much money. So can it also be less? And then this is why we call it solidarity payment. So people who don't earn a lot, they can pay us less, and people who earn enough, they can pay us a bit more. And this balances out very nicely. So
nice.
yeah.
So, and how many people in total?
At the moment are working here. I have 7 freelancers. One is an irregular force. He's the one who's like doing most of the woodwork and heavy stuff. Very big guy. And then we are with 5 actually. Sorry. So we're 6 in total, and then we have 4 other women next to me who are working part-time. So we have Marieke, who's in the shop at the moment. She works 4 days a week. And I have some Elske, who is doing mostly all the communications around the subscriptions. She's working, I'm thinking, how much hours is that? Around 30. Oh, and these are hours in the summer, so April to November. In wintertime they work less. And then I have Nikki and Paulina, who work with me more in gardening, and they both work 2 days a week.
Okay.
So I have got four.
It's growing.
3. Me myself, I'm working 5 to 6 usually.
Yeah.
So it's 17. 17 days, work days a week that we are working. So that's
nice enterprise.
yeah.
Okay. So this is about your own team. The students also are asking, do you receive support from outside? Maybe technical support, or maybe some advice about the seedlings, or...
Okay, yeah. So what are the lines to the outside world?
Yeah. Like CGen maybe, or the university, or the gene bank.
Yeah, so we are collaborating in various networks. So we have a network in Wageningen with other sustainable entrepreneurs. And we are doing this to exchange certain inputs, which are outputs from somebody else, like the mushroom growers. They have leftover material, which I can really use very well as mulching.
Okay.
For knowledge, I depend on several other farmers and friends who are in the branch, but I also read a lot of new articles on soil science or breeding or things like that. And there is the farmers' organizations. So we have the bio-tuinders, the bio-gardeners. And we have yearly 2 to 3 meetings, which usually 2 have like a really subject on which we discuss, which can be mechanization or seedlings or propagating, things like that. And we have CSA network. So in that we are usually discussing more about pricing and about how do you work with your shareholders. But lately also about how to grow more winter crops, because if you don't have a greenhouse, that's quite a challenge in Holland to grow crops throughout the year.
Then the last question about the management of the place is, what do you have any support from the government? Could you be able to get some subsidy or?
There, at the moment, there are some subsidy possibilities for education, I think. But they are usually really focused on changing from normal agriculture towards something like this. So actually, it would be more useful if they would spend their money on me and I could tell others about how this is. So there are funds for that. But yeah, there actually is not so much funding. There is a very little bit of subsidies from the Brussels, which is based on acreage. So that's like some tens of euros per year, because we are so small. Doesn't count. I do get some funding for having certain trainees here. So there is, if there are trainees who do like a part-time study, like changing from a different direction into something, it's called the BBL studies. There is subsidy for that. You get a little bit, for your support.
Yeah, okay.
But actually, at the moment, most of my trainees, they are from the regular schools, and there's no support in that. Actually, I think it takes me more time to begeleiden, to supervise those than the ones that are really into.
Okay.
But okay. I really like this.
Things could be better on that side.
Yes,
we have several people working for the government in the other countries. So Okay, then the second set of questions is about the crop and the seed management. The first one is because they were watching, I guess, some of the things that you showed us last time. And how do you decide about spacing and which crop to intercrop with which ones?
Yeah.
Do you have kind of a grand scheme, or you just try by doing and see how it works?
Yeah, so a lot of the, if I try out new things, it's sometimes because I'm inspired by another gardener who has tried something. The spacing, I usually try to just cramp in as much as possible. So that's trial and error. So if I cramp in too much, the production goes down, and I'm like, next time I'll space them a little bit wider. I have some like fixed beds. So the spacing between the lines is fixed, and then I only, try in one line. That's trial and error. But the intercropping, it's also about, just thinking about how does a plant grow. So where can I see space? So how does it grow under the soil, and how does it grow up? And in time, where is space?
Yeah.
And that's interesting. So this year I'm really also interested in seeing if I can get my cabbage intercropped with things that do work with mycorrhiza, because the cabbage is not working together with any mycorrhizas, which means that if you have a complete field of cabbage the whole year, the mycorrhiza doesn't have anything to do, doesn't have anything to eat. So it could actually die for a big part, and we don't want that, because next year there will be a crop that really likes mycorrhiza. So now I'm really looking at how can I do this intercropping in such a way that I promote the mycorrhiza there. So
that's an example. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I really like looking into the ecosystem and seeing like how is it functioning and where could I improve what I am doing, because of course nature would do something else. It would completely cover all these these cabbage fields with weeds. So there would be mycorrhiza enough there.
Okay, good. Now I think they grasp that whatever you do is not just by chance, but I think they observe that you put things quite tightly together, maybe not more so than they're used to in their country. Then there were several questions about seed. How do you get your seed for all the 500
varieties
species that you have?
Yeah.
How much do you save yourself each year? How much do you maybe get from other farmers? How much do you buy?
Yeah.
Maybe give some examples of which crops you.
Yeah.
do
So there's.
yourself.
Yeah. So I have tried the first years a lot of saving my own seeds, but I found out it takes a lot of time. So I focused on either the crops that I can't get seeds from easily from outside, and the crops that are easy. So I think most of the beans, so the beans that you eat as a little bean, not the pods, those I save myself. And also the varieties, the old varieties of green beans that I like, where I can't get any seeds from. So in the beans, yeah, I think it's most of the beans that I do myself. Then there are some old, special varieties of lettuce, because lettuce is not a cross-pollinator, so it's quite easy to have that. So I have 2 varieties of lettuce or 3 varieties of lettuce, depending on the year, that I propagate myself. Those are the ones that are special, because the normal ones I buy. Perhaps you can see that.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, this is cool. This is what I sow myself, but I also buy small seedlings, planting material, and they come in crates like this, and those are like the modern varieties. And a lot of people just like the modern varieties, so that's okay. I grow also modern varieties and then some special ones. Let me see. We have here tomatoes. Those I usually buy, because it's really you really want to have good material, no viruses and stuff. So those I buy. With the peppers, I have some special varieties that I propagate myself. They are also easy. Let me see. What do you see? Chives? Spinazie. Oh yeah. So there are several. Well, it's called spinach, but it's a variety of ganzenwoed. Genopodium, which is also very easy to propagate. And those are also ones that I really like to spread themselves through the garden, because so you could see them as weeds in the garden, but usually because they are growing like weeds, they are my first crops. So they are growing throughout the garden as a kind of weed, and I also take the seeds, but I also just let them spread out, so I can have very early crops. And this year I'm very happy with all these crops that have spread themselves, because it's such a late spring that it's really necessary for me to harvest the wild vegetables. Let me see, look around. So I have also a lot of special chives. Those I harvest myself. And mustard leaf, everything in the mustard family. They are also, you have to be careful about when is what flowering, so you can't have 2 varieties at the same time, so you need to really make sure you you keep a distance in time between those. But then, if they have, it's also really easy to get the seeds from the pots. Yeah, so those I do myself. Let me see if there's more.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, also for the cucumber family, I buy seeds because of the viruses, and I don't want to get into that.
Yeah, that's good. Well, but last time we didn't visit the greenhouse, but now it's see how it looks like.
This is a small one, and now I'm all the time getting them out and getting them in again. And
you showed this last time, but they also observed that most of your species varieties are from the Netherlands or from Europe, and they said they asked, do you have any tropical, or would you be interested to try out any tropical?
Yeah, so for me already, tomato and bell peppers and eggplant is tropical.
It is true, yeah.
For me, I mean, for them perhaps not, but I do try some special varieties from the tropics. Kivano, for example, it's like a cucumber with staples.
Okay. Spikes, yeah.
Spikes on it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really ripen here, so that's a bit of a problem, is to really get it ripe. You need a greenhouse for that, and I really hope I can build one coming winter, so I can try out all these nice tropical varieties. I do try out a lot of Japanese varieties, so in the same climate zone, but from a different part of the world, and also from the Andes, so also a bit higher up, a bit colder climate. Those I really like because they really make your diet more broad, and also fill perhaps some gaps which our European varieties can't. So
Okay, well, we'll tell them that. Again, they don't know how hot and cold it is in the Netherlands, I guess.
Yeah, that's I hope they stay a bit.
Although they say it's getting warmer, but this spring is not getting warmer.
Oh, no.
You mentioned already a little bit the phytosanitary care that you need to, is very important. Do you do it all by yourself? You know how to spot the diseases or on the seedlings?
I have.
Or you trust your suppliers and...
Yeah, most of it I trust my suppliers. And if I see something, I had a quite severe case some years ago. I tried out a new variety of strawberry, and I was really like, oh, this is a funny growing strawberry. Really mismatched, misformed strawberry, and I was really like, wow, it's beautiful, but it's really strange. And then I looked it up what it was, and it was actually a Q disease, so a quarantine disease, and I was really like, oh my God, don't mention it to anybody, just take out all these strawberries. And I mentioned the people who sold me those, and they said, oh no, we don't know anything about it, no. Well, it's a known disease in that variety of strawberries, so I was really like, okay.
So you need to always be careful.
Yeah, so that was a bit strange, also the way they took it back, so like they didn't say, oh, thank you, we're going to check out everything. No, they were just like, not from our, because if it was, and if I would have like, but then I had already destroyed all the evidence, of course, because I was.
How do you deal with pests and diseases? Do you have certain medicines, natural medicines that you produce yourself?
Well, we try to prevent most of it. That's the whole idea about biodiversity and the rotation system. But if it still comes up, we have biological control. So if you're working outside, biological control is much more difficult, because if you have like these insects that fly away, you can put a lot of them, and you don't know if they're staying. So usually, if it's possible, I work with mites. So for example, in zucchini, we have a lot of thrips, and there we work with squirski mite. But you have to wait until the temperatures get into the good zone, because they don't like the Dutch winters. So sometimes it is a bit late that you can put them out, but then if the temperatures goes up, they're quite fast. And then I also use biological control for certain fungi. So this year we used contans, which is like a predator species on Sclerotinia, and that's another soil fungi which can cause a lot of problem because it likes like anything, so you can't get it out by rotation. So we sprayed that through the garden, just introducing this new variety and hoping that it that it works. But it's also something you can use in storage, because Sclerotinia for me is really a storage problem. I do lose some plants during the summer over it, but not so much as I lose tubers in the wintertime. So I use that. Of course, yeah, I'm trying to get all kinds of predators in my garden, so I use a lot of bird houses and bees, things, and well, trying to make all kinds of spaces throughout the garden so you have your natural enemies at hand and not. Yeah, so there are some researches going on in the garden to see like what can we find in the field and what can we find on the edge. And actually, because our fields are so small, there's not so much difference. So that's really good, because that's actually what we want, so that the predators can just move freely through the garden.
Questions? I think the students were really impressed, and several asked why you don't expand it. What are the possibilities of doing that, or have you dreamed about it, of doing that? Or why not have more than one Ommuurde Tuin, but have maybe 10 of them?
Well, actually, I think it's because if I expand, I'm going to be more of a manager and less of a gardener. And I really love putting my hands in the soil myself. So I think it would be possible. But it's also a question about if you find the people to do it, because I find a lot of people who want to come here and learn from me and work with me. But if they start something, they want to do it themselves. They are stubborn, like me. It's really good. And they want to make their own Ommuurde Tuin. So I'm not going to make more Ommuurde Tuins. I really like to inspire people and to train people, and then have them go out and make their own Ommuurde Tuin somewhere else.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. I like that. And I think that's also what you have been doing for a long time. Looking at the future, you already mentioned you would like to have a larger greenhouse. What other plans do you have? Next year or two?
Yeah, I really hope to find somebody who loves this place as much as me and likes to work along more in the garden with me. So like find a second gardener. Because now, also because they are part-time jobs, people, the people that I have around me usually have an extra job on the side, and so that's one of my dreams, to find somebody who's also going to be like a second gardener.
Yeah, okay.
Well, you see the little house over there, that's like the last dream, so sometime in the future.
So you can stay here.
No, I'm not allowed to like make a house there. No. But it will be nice if we have a little bit of extra indoor space for visitors.
Okay.
That would be nice. Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know how long that will be. The dreams I have usually take some time to develop. Also because, like for now, for example, where I'm going to put my greenhouse, I have to remove something because I have limited space. So to move the berries from there, I needed to make already something 2 years ago, and then so I'm like, really, this is a real slow process. Yeah, but it's okay. I studied forestry, so I know about long-term planning.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We will make another small video that we will share with the students.
Yes.
They are still with us for 2 weeks.